Hey, Pretty Girl Club. Welcome back to the Diabolicals United series. In this episode, I want to talk about how to use your privilege in your geographical location or how to decide which city or state or part of the country works the best for you. I'm going to have some more videos that I'm going to be uploading soon talking about where you're located and how that affects the way that you're perceived. Because I've been doing just a little bit of study, like, okay, what's considered light skin in this city? What's considered dark skin? What is the experience for a mixed person? But have you ever noticed how in other groups they tell women to go where they're celebrated, but then they get mad if you go where you are celebrated? You guys know that on this YouTube channel, I consider myself to be more of a decentering men YouTube channel when it comes to dating. But when it comes to social status in general, whether it's dating or just you're trying to start a business or whatever, you should go where you're celebrated. So if you receive privilege in the Black community, for example, then you should move to where they have more Black people. So I did a quick little Google search, and it says as of January 2024, the states with the largest populations of single race Black people are Texas, around 3.5 million, Georgia has around 3.4 million, and Florida has about 3.2 million. So if you feel like you have privilege in the Black community, then you have every right to go to a place where you are celebrated. And by the way, let's talk about Black privilege. Oh, I'm going to be uploading more details on privileges and how to use your privileges on my members page. I'm absolutely not sharing that stuff publicly, but I can share a little bit about what I believe Black privilege is in these particular states, like in some of these southern states. For example, one form of Black privilege that I have witnessed being in the South, because I've lived all over the country, I've noticed that if you are good at cooking, let's say you're an exotical, let's say you're Creole, and you live in the South and you're good at cooking. One thing that I actually noticed in the South is a lot of girls, I've seen a lot of exoticals who are like in their 20s or in their 30s. Maybe they don't want to work a regular 9 to 5 job. So many girls have started their own food trucks and they will like make Creole food or they will make Caribbean food, and that will be their job. They will become business owners and they're utilizing their privilege in the Black community because they know that they will have access to more customers, because we already know that they like soul food, but also maybe somebody wants something a little bit different. Maybe they want some Caribbean food. Maybe they want something that is specifically from the Creole community. So that's an example of actually utilizing Black privilege or utilizing your Blackness to your financial benefit. Because if you're in a city, if you are in Fargo, North Dakota, and you have a soul food restaurant or something, it may not get as many customers because a lot of people may not even know what that is. But if you are in proximity to a lot of people who have appreciation for that type of food, then that's actually an example of what I call Black privilege. By the way, all of these things are just my opinions. Obviously, I have no proof of this, but that's something I've noticed as someone who has lived all over the country. I've noticed that like in the South in particular, people really like food. So that's number one. Number two, the food is amazing. But if you're an exotical and you are good at cooking or you're good at like sales and stuff like that, you can create your own business and you're more likely to have customers. I remember one time I was walking around, I was in the South, and they had all of these vendors kind of like at one of the malls. And one of them was an exotical. She was a Blasian girl and she had beautiful long hair. She also had this beautiful golden skin tone, and she made her own body scrubs and skincare products, and she was just selling them at the mall. And most of her customers were unambiguous African American men and women. So I actually consider that to be her having privilege in the Black community. So she stood out because of her phenotype. And what made her stand out was not just her skin, but also her hair. So she was selling these scrubs that are supposed to smooth out your skin. It gets rid of marks and stuff. I remember she had this like little bikini scrub where you're supposed to scrub on your bikini line if you have ingrown hairs. And then she even had like scalp scrubs to kind of cleanse your scalp so your hair will grow. That's actually an example of what I would call Black privilege. And by the way, let's say you have a mixed race background. I believe that you'll have privilege in both communities, the Black community and the white community, because in both scenarios, you're benefiting from exoticism. You're benefiting from being exotified. So in the Black community, maybe you look a little bit different, and then from the white community, you look a little bit different as well. So let's say you want to be more in the white community. So I just did a quick Google search of the states that have the most white people. Vermont is 95% white, Maine is 95% white, West Virginia 94% white, New Hampshire, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, and Iowa. All of these states have a majority white population. So, one of the ways that you can utilize your privilege in maybe a white community is that exoticism. So, you guys know that for my background, I came from a white part of the US. My exact hometown did have one of the highest white populations in my state, and I used that so that I could actually get modeling jobs because I stood out. So I was using tokenism to my advantage. I was actually using tokenism to financially profit. A lot of people speak against tokenism. I actually believe that if you know how to socially strategize, you can use tokenism as an amazing advantage. One of the ways that my brother used this is he got scholarships to go to college. You know how they have like minority scholarships and stuff like that. Or if you're an athlete, maybe it's easier for you to get into a particular college. Maybe that college is going to set you up to have a better job. That's an example of utilizing your exoticism even in the white community, your quote unquote tokenism. That's an example of you socially strategizing so that you can get ahead. Have you ever noticed how a lot of other YouTube channels, they tell people to level up, but then they don't describe exactly how you can do it? They don't describe how you're supposed to level up. Another thing that I believe that you would have if you're in the white community is you would have more cultural advantages when you're interacting with the white community. So for example, one difference I've noticed between myself and like multiracial people raised in the black community, the main difference I've noticed is actually our interactions with non-black people. I've noticed that any of my mixed race friends or black exotical friends who have never been around white people, sometimes they tend to have kind of like this distrust or kind of like an assumption that the white person is going to be racist or that Indians are colorist, as you heard Chrissy say the other day, like don't compliment Indians because apparently they're colorist. So I've noticed that if you don't have exposure to a certain culture, it's very easy for you to stereotype it. But let's say you're the only person of color in a majority white community, that's actually going to help you to break your stereotypes about white people. Or if you're in the Hispanic community, it'll help you break your stereotypes about the Hispanic community. One of the advantages of being in the Hispanic community is obviously you will have an easier time learning a second language. And it's even better if that's a part of your background. Let's say you're a Dominican or something like that. Maybe you haven't practiced your Spanish, or maybe you were adopted and you didn't know that your family is from Dominican Republic. Well, now if you're in the Hispanic community, you have opportunities to practice that language and to learn from the people who are actually a part of that culture. So I actually believe that you can tap into different privileges no matter what culture you're a part of. So one of the things you want to ask yourself right now is, okay, what type of culture do I like? What ethnic groups do I love being around? And no, that's not being racist because I'm asking you to think of the positive qualities of those particular ethnic groups. So I can start describing mine. So what I love about being around the black community, if I'm in like a city that's mainly black, I love the food, first of all. Oh my God, I am obsessed. I'm obsessed with the food. I love going to the different soul food restaurants, the Jamaican restaurants. Just, oh my gosh, the seasoning is just on point. So that's what I love about the black community. Another thing I like is if I am going to see some live music and I'm in like Atlanta or Houston or some city that's like known for having a high black population, I like the talent that I'm exposed to. I like being around all of these talented people because it inspires me. It actually inspires me to be more creative. I've noticed that I'm a lot more creative when I'm around the black community because in the black community there's a lot of talent. I feel like a lot of people are very gifted, whether it's they're good at sports or maybe they're good at singing or they're just naturally good at dancing. Have you ever seen little kids and they're like a better dancer than you? So I like that aspect of being around the black community. That's one of my personal privileges that I gain is creative inspiration. It also pushes me, it helps me to push the limits with my creativity. So that's something you want to ask yourself. What do I like about being around these particular communities? When it comes to the white community, for me, what I enjoy when I'm in the white community is I love how business minded a lot of people are. It really helps me to be on point when it comes to my finances. It helps me to be organized as fuck. I love seeing all the soccer moms, how they like have their calendars and stuff. And by the way, none of this is me stereotyping. This is me just speaking on my personal experiences. I know that not all white or black people, fit what I'm saying here. But just for me, I like when I'm around the white community. First of all, you guys know that I am obsessed with coffee. I love the coffee culture. I love going to the different coffee shops, getting a nice French roast, an Americano, an iced vanilla latte, maybe even an iced lavender latte, because that's my favorite. And I like how business minded I am when I'm surrounded by more people from the white community. Because in my experience, I've been around a lot of people from the white community who are very structured, very disciplined, like disciplined as fuck. The white community really actually inspires me when it comes to the gym. Oh my God. Like some of my white friends, I have gone on 10-mile hikes, 20-mile hikes. I've biked for like a really long time. Some of them have like ran marathons and stuff. So I feel like they inspire me to have more endurance. They inspire me in terms of my workout routine and my consistency and the discipline. So that's another question you may want to ask yourself. Like, okay, what privileges or advantages do I have being surrounded by XYZ community? It could be the black community or the white community. And then when I think of the Hispanic community, again, with the food. So similar to how I feel around the black community, I love trying the new food. I tend to want to stay up late and hang out with my friends and family more because I've noticed that there are a lot of people who are very family oriented. Me and my friends, like sometimes late at night, we would go to the Mexican food truck because I have a couple of friends who lived in Mexico, then they moved to the US. So what we would do is we would hang out and then we would go to one of the food trucks. We would get like some Coca-Colas or something and we would just chill. So when I'm around the Hispanic community, I think of more of like chill vibes, like being family oriented, staying up super late, like staying up late at night and just having fun, maybe dancing, going out dancing, like actually dancing, like salsa, merengue, all of those fun dances. So that is a privilege that I feel I gain from being surrounded by the Hispanic community. So when it comes to using your pretty girl pedestal and your privileges to your advantage, this is something you want to start strategizing about. So think about where you live. Do you live around a lot of, I don't know, black people, white people, Asian people? And if so, what are the advantages of that community? Actually, when it comes to the Asian community, I'm just going on a rant at this point. First of all, I am freaking obsessed with all of the Asian skincare. Oh my God. I actually just went to an Asian, it was kind of like one of those beauty supplies slash like makeup stores. You know how they have like Daiso and stores like that. So I went to a store like that just the other day. So when I'm around the Asian community, they really inspire me to get on my skincare game. By the way, all of this is supposed to be positive. None of this is like me saying anything negative about these groups. But if you live around a lot of Asian people, maybe you want to think about that. Another thing that I loved when I was around a lot of Asian people was going to the grocery stores. So when I used to live in a neighborhood with more Asian people, the Asian grocery stores, they had cheaper and fresher produce versus like the mainstream American stores. So I used to love going to get all of my aloe vera. You know how you get the aloe vera and you put it on your skin, you put it on your hair. So if you're one of those DIY exoticals and you like making your own hair care products, making your own skincare, go to the Asian market because they have amazing produce, or at least where I lived, they had amazing produce. It was cheaper. It was very fresh. You could find all kinds of knickknacks and cool things and the skincare part. And it also got me on my skincare game. Not to mention the fact that when I started getting into the Indian markets as well, I learned all about the different hair conditioners and stuff. You guys know that to this day, my favorite brand of hair conditioner, I might get some this week actually, because I need some more. But my favorite brand of hair conditioner is Vaquita or Vatica. I don't know how to describe it or how to pronounce it. But that stuff, that is my shit right there. So when I'm around the Asian community, they really inspire me in terms of my own beauty. They inspire me to level up my skincare. They inspire me to level up my hair care. So that's a privilege that I experience when I'm surrounded by the Asian community. And also, I benefit from exoticism in the Asian community because I'm not Asian, so I stand out. It's so cute. One time I was at the Asian market and I'm tall, so I was just walking down the aisle and this super short lady, she was like, "Oh, can you help me get something?" So I was like helping her like reach up to grab something. Shout out to you if you are a tall exotical. I feel like that's just a normal day in my life. There's always somebody that's like asking me to grab something for them. But that's another thing you want to think about though. Like, okay, what positive aspects do I experience when I am in this community? how can I make myself stand out in this community, or how can I kind of blend into this community more and learn more about myself? Because let's say you're mixed with those people. Let's say you're mixed with Indian and you've never encountered the Indian community. Maybe you didn't grow up around that. Well, can you go to the Indian part of town and maybe start shopping at those grocery stores, maybe exploring over there a little bit more? Can you sign up for a gym membership in that part of town so you can start to interact with people from your culture? Because that's another thing. Like, if especially if you're multiracial or something, those people are your people. So you know how people try to say, oh, your white side won't accept you, the Asian side won't accept you, the Indian side won't accept you. It's like they have no choice but to accept me because I'm already one of them. Like, I already have their blood running through my veins. So whether they accept me or not really doesn't matter because I still have them as a part of my DNA. So that's such a silly talking point when people are like, oh, so and so people group, they're not going to accept you, they're going to reject you. But when I'm talking about your geographical location and using those types of privileges, that's what I mean. So you may want to think about like the ethnic groups from your background, or you can think about what ethnic groups you experience the most privilege around. So whether it's you get treated nicer by people from that group, or maybe you like dating within a certain group or making friends within a certain group, then that's something you want to think about. Like, okay, when it comes to my geographical location, do I live in the exact location where I feel the most privileged, or do I want to move somewhere else? Do I want to move to a new neighborhood or maybe even to a new state? Or if I can't afford to move right now, is there a way that I can maybe go down to the Indian market like once a week? Oh, by the way, speaking of the Indian markets, another thing that I'm into when it comes to the Indian culture is, so I'm just now learning more about like Ayurvedic herbs and all that. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. So I found out that they have these Indian spas. They're not in my exact neighborhood, but they're like about 20 minutes away, and they do like scalp massages. So you know how a lot of Indian women have this gorgeous hair like flowing down their back? Yeah, so I found out that they have a place where they do these scalp massages and they put the Ayurvedic herbs on your scalp and it helps stimulate hair growth. So that's another thing you can do. You can actually add that into your beauty routine. So going back to maybe the African American community, maybe you've always wanted to try like some braids or something, or some locks, or I don't know, some sort of hairstyle. Maybe you can look up that particular group or somebody who is a professional at hair braiding, not the ones that snatch out your edges, but maybe they're good at hair braiding. Maybe you can look up a salon and learn some natural hair tips or something. So when it comes to privilege, I think of privilege as a way for you to live the soft life. And for the people who get mad at me talking about privilege, I can't help the fact that the society we live in is messed up. So why should I play fair in an unfair world? The society we live in was not created for everyone to succeed. So there are some people who are at the top, who are billionaires and stuff, and then there are other people who have to utilize different survival tactics, like what I teach on this channel. For a lot of us, we are using a lot of different survival tactics and social strategies because no, we happen to not be born as billionaires. You know, we weren't born billionaires. So we have every right to use whatever social strategies or privileges we see fit in order to even the playing field for ourselves, whether that's in wealth, whether that is in friendships or status. We have the right to pursue happiness just like anyone else. But yeah, what do you think about your geographical location? Do you like your location, or have you not been taking advantage of your location? Maybe you haven't been exploring or testing out your pretty privilege in the different cities around you. Maybe you haven't tested your pretty privilege in Miami or in LA or in all these other places. What do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.